Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to talk a little bit because goodness gracious, this Triumph is just eating at me. And I was thinking about making a video a while ago when it first came out, but I'm like, they're going to nerf this. They're going to nerf this Triumph. And they did. They recently just nerfed this Triumph, but oh my goodness, is it like the worst nerf I've ever seen. What am I talking about? Well, there's a couple of Triumphs, and I think one of them is affecting more than just max Triumph score players. Talking about these Onslaught Triumphs, and you can see here I already have some of them tracked because I know I'm not going to get them done. There's the Defeat Bosses one. There's the Barren Ground one, which is also in the seal, so a lot of people are going to actually, be affected by this one being awful. And then the Fight to the End Triumph. Everything else is pretty easy. You can get that done just kind of by playing the game normally. You don't have to go out of your way or spend millions of hours trying to specifically finish a Triumph or finish your seal. But these ones, Scorn Dominator, Barren Ground, Fight to the End, they're pretty bad. And I mean pretty bad, I mean some of the worst Triumphs that have ever been implemented in the game. And I've done them all. I'm a max Triumph score player. I've done every Triumph, every seal, everything in this game. Even the, the good old, whatever that one season was with those champions you needed to kill, the treasure-laden combatants, I did that one. I've done it all. And this one, I don't know why. Maybe it's the state of the game, but it's just, it almost makes me want to quit playing, like, max Triumph score and just not even care anymore, which is so silly that I'm going to give up my title that I've held on to kind of for my own sake because they just don't really understand what Triumphs they're making, or if this is intentional. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to go to Destiny 2 checklist, which is what I use to kind of track Triumphs. And you can see the other tiers that are hidden in the game since they haven't unlocked that threshold yet. And you can see here Scorn Dominator requires 50 bosses. The Fight to the End right here says 40 complete runs. And then where's the Barren Ground? Requires 250 Revenant Barons. So why are these so bad? Well, Fight to the End is the one they nerfed. It was actually 50 runs. You need to complete 50 runs of Onslaught Salvation. What is a complete run counted as? A full wave, a full 50. You have to get all 50 done to get one progress on this Triumph. So when it was 50, you need to complete 2,500 waves of Onslaught, assuming you never failed any of them, and you got to the end and killed the boss or whatever. Like, you need to fully complete them, and luckily you can do this in the normal version, but you can't do it in the playlist version. You can't do it where it's just the 10 waves and it ends. You have to do the 50. So if you failed one, that was a big waste of time. And each one of those takes like about over an hour, I'd say. So you just spend like 50 hours, before it was probably like 60 hours to just get this Triumph. Yeah. And what's funny is the Scorn Dominator Triumph, this one, the Defeat Bosses on Salvation, it's only the final boss. So this is pretty much saying, do 50 runs of Onslaught Salvation. Because the last one is 50 bosses. Well, they just nerfed the one that said do 50 runs to 40, but this one is still 50. So you still have to do 50 runs to complete this Triumph. And then the one I think most people are upset about, because this is, some people don't care about Triumphs. I get it. Whatever. I've heard people, complain and say, just don't do it. Well, sure, dude. The Barren Ground one, the Revenant Barons, that I believe is in the seal. So if you go in the game and you go to the seal, which I think more people are more affected by because some people like the seals, it is part of the seal. Like, you need to get this Triumph if you want the seal, and I feel like a lot of people, push the Triumphs in this section specifically to get the seal. But that one requires 250 Revenant Barons. If you don't know what Revenant Barons are, those are within the Onslaught Salvation. They will spawn, and they'll be like the special enemies that you have to kill. And I'm pretty sure you need to tag them, first of all, to get the count. and only like a couple, like a handful spawn per like run, and they're pretty deep into the run too. So you need to pretty much do full runs without failing to get the most progress. And it just doesn't make any sense, because I think one of the funny things is these ones are so bad, the Onslaught ones, but the Tomb of Elders that they just released, I've played maybe a day's worth, maybe 2 days worth. And I'm almost done with everything. Like, I haven't even purposely looked at these because I'm like, oh, I'm almost already done. I'll just play more and I'll probably just get it done on accident. But these ones are like, I have all the weapons I want. I have everything I want from the activity. But I have to go in and just play 30 more runs. Well, for this one, like 41 more runs of Onslaught. So I got to invest like 50 more hours just to get this remainder Triumph. Just so I don't lose my max Triumph score, title, which, again, most people just laugh and don't care, but it's just something I like to do. So why is this kind of, bothering me? There's a couple things. One, if you look at the rarest triumphs in the game, and I think something broke recently, because there's a lot of weird triumphs appearing here in the Triumph analytics on Charlemagne. So ignore some of these, but I looked up, okay, how rare are these? The defeat bosses one, only 575 people have completed that. So that's 575 people in the world have done 50 waves of Onslaught Salvation, the 50 wave version. Fight to the End has 907. So that is, it should be the same theoretically, but since they nerfed it to 40, nerfing it by 10 waves only brought it up like 330-ish. Like, what? So nerfing it by 10 did almost nothing. And I get you go, there's so many days left in the year and you just play one a day. But I don't know who you are playing Onslaught every day for 50 days straight, dude. But that's not what anyone wants to do. And I made a video before, which you can go check out. It's the video I made, I think, right before the final shape. It was called "I Have Max Triumph Score and Why You Don't Care," and that's the exact reason. No one's gonna look at this triumph and go like, "That's impressive." They're gonna go, "I feel bad for you. Like, I can't believe you put yourself through that." That's not a triumph. That's not a I can't wait to show this off. It's I need to check this box and I'm gonna hate my life while doing it. And that's what's sad. Also, what's sad is it's almost as rare as the world's first or day one Crown of Sorrow. Like, this one had 24 hours to complete. This one, it's been a month and a half or two. Like, and there's still less people or just almost as less people that have this as the day one. And there's, of course, many day ones down here that people don't have. And it's just like, why is this the triumph that they decided to create? The other thing that's bothering me, and is what I was kind of alluding to in the beginning, is I purposely didn't do the triumph. I was like, they're going to nerf this, so I'm not going to touch it. And what I hate the most that they do at Bungie is they don't tell you they're going to nerf a triumph. So I just play the long game. Like, they're going to nerf it. I'll go in and grind it. If they lower it a little bit, I don't mind grinding a little bit. Like, if it's just like 30 or 25, I'll go in there and finish them out because that's like more reasonable. But nerfing it to 40 and then keeping this one at 50, it did nothing. But one thing that's crazy is they don't tell you they're going to nerf it. So this was a tweet that I had a long, long time ago. So this is the Treasure Laden Combatants. If you don't remember this one, this was during the Salvage or whatever it was called, Season of the Deep. And during it, there was a rare chance that a Treasure Laden Combatant could spawn, which is like a big fallen captain. And you had to tag him, and you had to kill him. And I believe you needed to get 12 of them to spawn. And it was so rare. I was grinding that and just waiting for them to spawn. I had times where someone would literally Nova Bomb and like spawn camp the guy. So like no one was doing the activity. We were all just waiting there to make sure we would get a tag on the guy before we killed him. And it was miserable. And then guess what? After I grinded it all out, they nerfed it to 4. and they just didn't tell anyone they were going to nerf it. And so the person that was added in this tweet was one of the Triumph like creators, I guess, at Bungie. And in his explanation, which I guess is now deleted, I think he deleted his whole Twitter account, it was saying we didn't want to talk about it until it was in. I get that. Like, you don't want to promise something and then not deliver. But if you know something is bad, if you know, like, hey, this Triumph, we may have overshot this one, let people know that, like, there's, even if you're not going to be able to deliver it, at least we're like, yeah, this one was bad. That's on us. You know, like, oops, we might have added a 0. Like, it's not going to hurt anything. If anything, you're going to help more people than you're going to hurt. Because, goodness gracious, there's people who probably grinded out those 50 waves, and now they're like, wow, now you nerf it? That kind of sucks. But I've learned my, I learned. I don't grind stuff out until, like, much later in the season. Honestly, I don't even know why anyone plays this game until Act 3. Because everything would be out and ready to go, and everything would be fixed. Like, it's honestly starting to push me more to play less the more that this kind of goes on. But that's another conversation. So I wish they were able to communicate it, but obviously it wouldn't have even mattered because when they did communicate, or would have communicated, they didn't even do a good job because this one's still 50, this one's 40. I still think 40 is still reasonably way too high. I've only done 9 this season. I have everything I want. I think the Barren Grounds, Revenant Barrens, I think that's the one they should have targeted because that's going to affect more than, just the, max Triumph score players like me. I think this is going to affect a lot more people and they should have went after that one. But overall, I think what I would do if I was them, and again, it's probably going to upset people who've already grinded it, but honestly, if you grinded that already, you already know how crazy you are as a person, and I was that person before, so I respect it. I would change these to count playlist activity. So like the 10 waves. Complete runs, just do 10. So that's still a lot. That's still a lot of waves. This one, you have to nerf it. Either drop it to like 100 or drop it to like 150, but like 250 is really high. And because it's such a limited spawn and a certain amount of waves in that they spawn, it's going to be very hard for like the normal person who just wants a title to kind of grind these out. And then the bosses one, this should count every 10. So every wave 10, you go to that boss room and kill a guy, that should count as a boss. But it only counts the final boss at the end of wave 50. So I would change that also to be every 10 counts as a boss. Anyway, that's kind of all I wanted to rant about today. I've done every Triumph, like I said. I've done the bad ones. Ruffians, that's what they were called. That one was terrible. I even did that. I did almost everything, but I'm just at that point where if they're just creating stuff just to kind of, I hope it's unintentional, but to add more time or add, something for people to do and waste their Act 1 buffer time to bring it to Act 2 or Act 2 to Act 3. I don't know what their agenda is, but it's getting tiring. And I think what's really funny is, I don't know if you guys watch the Game Awards, but there was the winner of last year for Baldur's Gate, one of the producers. He goes out there and specifically calls out those companies that take advantage of their players. And I think you should watch it if you haven't already. You probably have, but it was almost describing Destiny 2. And I kind of realized at that point that if this continues, I don't know how much I'm going to be playing the game. I really only play the game for the day ones, and I used to play it for these Triumphs, but now it feels like I'm just being taken advantage of, where it's just a different kind of story. It's not anything to be proud of. Anyway, feel free to tear me apart in the comments. I know there's a lot of people out there that hate max Triumph score players that say, if you don't want to do it, then just don't do it. It's that easy. Or just play one a day. I still think that one's crazy. I made a post on Bungie forums and someone said that, and I'm like, let me know when you get it, buddy. You just gotta play one Onslaught a day. That's like your whole day's worth of gaming. Oh, one thing I did want to show. So I was doing the math, and the average time to complete one of these full waves, again, just over an hour. I think like the average is like 110 minutes or whatever, or not 110 minutes, like an hour and 10 minutes. I think it shows at the end of the screen, like 110. So like 60 hours is what it would take. Just for reference, I just beat Hogwarts Legacy. I was playing that because it's fun. I beat the whole game and did every single triumph, or every single achievement, sorry, in 61 hours. So you're telling me I could grind one triumph in Destiny 2, or I could play a whole entire game and do every achievement in that game in the same amount of time. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty clear choice. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to make a video and talk about this because I don't know if I'm going to do this triumph. Not going to lie. Unless they nerf it again, this might be the end of me playing the game for max triumph score, which is a shame. But appreciate you guys for watching. I don't really make a lot of videos, but this one got me kind of riled up. So if you want to talk trash in the comments, go for it. I honestly don't care. Like I've seen the hate and the casual talk towards max triumph score players. I'm used to it, so I can't wait to read those. I'll love every one of them. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Appreciate you guys for watching. Look forward to maybe another video in the future when I get mad enough to make one. Peace.